Blender 4.2 is here and you've probably seen videos about it long before its release. While I don't typically jump on the update review bandwagon, this update is packed with features that are impossible to ignore. So in this video, I'll be highlighting my favorite new additions from Blender 4.2 as an environment and concept animation artist and show why this release is a total game changer. Starting with the most noticeable and highly anticipated improvement, EEVEE Next. Blender's team has rewritten many core features, transforming it into almost a completely new render engine. The most impressive change in my opinion is the addition of screen space global illumination. This feature uses a ray tracing-like algorithm within the constraints of real-time rendering, balancing quality and performance. Another significant update is the support for true vertex displacement similar to what is offered by Cycles. This addition will really help bridge the gap between EEVEE and Cycles, making EEVEE a more robust option for high-quality renders. EEVEE Next also brings a host of other improvements. Lighting and shadowing have seen major enhancements, with a new high-quality shadow rendering system utilizing virtual shadow mapping along with shadow map ray tracing, improving both quality and performance. Volumetrics have been refined, as they can now finally take custom shapes from meshes just like Cycles. The updates to depth of field and motion blur are also noteworthy. The newly rewritten depth of field effect looks more natural, while the improved motion blur now supports shutter curves like Cycles, and now it can be previewed in the viewport before you hit render, which is going to be super handy. Overall, these improvements make EEVEE a much stronger competitor to other advanced real-time render engines like Unreal Engine 5. Cycles wasn't overlooked in this update either. One of the standout improvements is the update to the principal shader, which now includes the thin film interference effect. This allows you to recreate effects like soap bubbles or oil on water. Additionally, a new ray portal BSDF node has been introduced. This powerful feature transports rays entering the node to another location in the scene, which can be used to render portals for visual effects and other production rendering tricks, and artists have been coming up with really creative uses for it. Another significant enhancement is the improved volume light sampling. This update delivers smoother and more accurate results for spotlights and area lights, enhancing the overall quality of volumetric lighting in your scenes while simultaneously improving rendering speed. Speaking of which, there's also a new blue noise sampling pattern instead of white noise, which works significantly better with denoisers at low sample counts. Open image denoise has also been upgraded, and now it supports GPU acceleration on AMD GPUs and also with CPU renders. And for those of us with limited VRAM, Blender now has enhanced functionality with Intel GPUs to utilize RAM when textures do not fit into the GPU memory. Finally. Another important update is the addition of the new view transform called Chronos PBR Neutral. This enables faithful reproduction of a product's base color, hue, and saturation when using PBR rendering under grayscale lighting, all while eliminating HDR artifacts around highlights. This isn't supposed to be a replacement for Filmic or HDX, but it's useful for people who need accurate color representation from the base colors of their materials under grayscale lighting without any saturation loss, hue skews, or visual artifacts, since the other Filmic tone mappers tend to desaturate the colors and need additional post-processing. Other than these massive changes, there have been other improvements that I really like, such as snapping and edge sliding in the UV editor, holding down Alt to add and remove modifiers on all selected objects, and that collections now can contain their own separate export settings that you can set up once and then export to multiple file formats at once. The animation system has also seen a lot of speed improvements along with added functionality and quality of life changes, which I can definitely appreciate. Many more improvements and additions have been made to the geometry nodes, sculpting, the compositor, video sequencer, and user interface, which I don't feel nearly qualified enough to talk about. But some final things that I want to mention that make the most difference for me are that undoing is up to 5 times faster now. Bloom in EEVEE is replaced by the glare node, which I have some mixed feelings about. You can now set focus distance in the depth of field settings by picking an object, and that will set the exact distance from the camera. The file cleanup section now gives you more control over what exactly is getting removed. The Alembic format now supports hair curves, and you can import multiple Alembic files at once. USD files also support hair curves now, and you can also export shaders from Blender as Material X and import point clouds. That's all the features that are going to be the most game-changing for me, but let me know if I missed any. This is a really exciting update, and I'll be creating videos on some new topics very soon, so subscribe to the channel to not miss out on them. And consider checking out my Patreon page for early access, exclusive tutorials, and access to experimental files. Meanwhile, here's a video you can watch to learn how you can animate perfectly seamless loops in Blender.